Good morning. Great to see everybody here on this Monday morning, October 26th. Hope you're all having a beautiful early fall day. My name is Bettina Swigger, and I am the CEO of Downtown SLO. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, this is a series of weekly calls that we've been doing since the beginning of the pandemic, and we are watching this on Zoom. We're also streaming live on Facebook in our Downtown SLO Businesses Facebook group. So hi out there to those of you on Facebook. Looking forward to sharing about an hour with you. We have some great content for you this morning and like to get your week started off right. So just a reminder that your Downtown SLO Business Association is led by a volunteer board of directors. I see a number of you on the call right now. Thank you especially to our board president, Pat Arnold, who has done a great job leading the charge in certainly strange and weird times. We really appreciate your leadership here. Our board of directors has been working really hard behind the scenes to really completely restructure our organization. We've gone through a lot of changes since March, and we're looking forward to a holiday season. Our organization has been very focused historically on creating events, and I'm going to share a little bit more about that with you in this call today, but we're really stepping it up in terms of what we're doing to support local businesses and the downtown district as a whole. So one of the ways that you can support our efforts is through our fundraising raffle. And our organization consists of a 501c6 membership organization and also a 501c3 Friends of Downtown SLO. And the Friends of Downtown SLO is a tax-deductible way for you to support our organization. We want to say thank you to the many amazing organizations and businesses that have donated to our raffle. I'm going to just play a little video so you can see some of the fantastic prizes that are out there. And I'll talk a little bit about why we're doing a raffle at this time. Our organization, as I said before, has been known in the past for being really an event production company. We have put together the Thursday Night Farmers Market, a beloved tradition, of course. We do concerts in the plaza during the summer, and we run the holiday series, including the holiday parade, which is not happening this year, and Santa's House, which is also going to be a little bit different this year. So our organization has been dramatically impacted financially. We had to really shrink down our staff over the summer, and we're relying more on volunteers. So if you buy a ticket, your funds will help support our ambassador program, and those are the two wonderful people, Jennifer and Yadvir, who are out there cleaning up the sidewalks, blowing leaves off the curbs, and interacting with our guests and with all of you. It'll also help support our volunteer programs and our holiday activations, which I will tell you about later. So the tickets are just $20, or you can get 6 for $100. You can have a fabulous night stay in hotel. There's wine, there's food, there's shopping sprees, all kinds of wonderful things. So please get your tickets. There will be 3 different drawings, one on November 7th, and then another one the following Saturday, and then the final one will be on November 28th, which is Small Business Saturday. As for the holidays, we are rethinking things a little bit this year, and we're going to invite you all and your businesses to help us light up downtown. We know that we can't bring together the thousands of people who usually gather for our holiday parade. And so instead of inviting thousands of people on one night, we're going to invite people to come downtown on their own time and enjoy a really robust and exciting lighting activation that will be throughout the downtown and have some focal points in the Mission Plaza. So we are partnering with the City of San Luis Obispo and with Carson Butler Events to produce some really exciting events and activations around the downtown. The San Luis Obispo collection has stepped up, and they will be sponsoring the installation of Santa's House and the holiday tree in Mission Plaza. So thanks to them for sponsoring. And we're asking for you to participate. We'd like for you to light up your business, get creative with your movement and decorations in your window. We usually do a window decorating contest, but this year we're focusing less on the contest and more just on the decorating. Another way you can help is you can sign up to volunteer to help us decorate our downtown. So we'll be talking on future Monday calls about how our volunteer assistant, Cassidy Shevlin, who's our AmeriCorps VIP member fellow, will be inviting you all to come up and be elves for the day. You'll be able to help put up garlands, put up lights, and assist with making downtown really sparkle for the holidays. We're doing this because we know that the holidays are critical right now. Retail is going to depend on some heavy, robust participation from all of you. And if you're on this call, I know that you care about our downtown, and I encourage you to make every effort to support local businesses in our downtown this holiday season. So with that, I'm going to invite our COO, Rachel Maiorino, to tell us a little bit about where we are in today's situation. Rachel?
Thank you, Bettina. So as of Friday, we were at 4,141 cases of COVID-19 that have been reported in SLO County. The city of SLO accounts for 791 of those cases. Thankfully, the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 has remained the same since last week at 32, but that is still 32 people, and our thoughts are with the family and friends of those individuals. Testing is available, and really, as we move into the next slide, you will see that it has been so instrumental in keeping us at the current tier where we're at, and you can learn more about where to find testing at readyslo.org. As you may have heard in the news, there has been a national surge in cases with the highest positive days on record. This is just a reminder that this, as you all know, is not going away. And this may be, signaling toward consumer confidence. So just thinking of this as we're entering into the holiday season, that each of us really has a role to play in keeping these numbers down. On the next slide that the team is on now, we can see that we remain on the substantial or red tier 2 of the state's blueprint for a safer economy. Those metrics, again, are released every Tuesday. So we will be learning more tomorrow. But fingers crossed that we'll be staying in tier 2, and we may be learning more from Lee or Courtney if they have any updates on their end. But with that, Bettina, I will turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you. And it just came to my attention that I think I was not screen sharing for the beginning of this Zoom. So my apologies, I had some really beautiful visuals that you didn't get a chance to see. So that is the state of the world that we live in right now. So I appreciate your grace as I move through this slide presentation. Yes, Rachel, thank you for that update. And with that, we're going to invite Lee Johnson, Interim Manager of Economic Development, to talk with us a little bit about what's going on at the city. Lee?
Hey, Bettina, can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, and just to follow on what Rachel had to say, our raw numbers of cases per 100,000 have a little bit been going in the wrong direction, and they're also over the limit that would keep us in red, so we need to be 7 or under. Our raw numbers were actually at 7.5 cases per 100,000. Our testing brings that number down. So the thing that is saving us now is doing our testing. I'm not sure if everybody saw it, but personal care, so including barbers, salons, massage, everything, has now been allowed to operate in all of the risk categories. So previously they were not allowed to operate indoors in purple or widespread, but the state clarified last week that even counties in the purple are allowed to have those services open indoors. So worst possible case, we go backwards and go into purple, those businesses would be allowed to stay open indoors, which I think is important to know. Also, people have asked what happens, how do you go backwards? And basically how that works is you need 2 weeks in a row with bad numbers. So if our numbers are good tomorrow, that means then we have 2 more, we can keep going. If they're bad tomorrow, then next week, if they're bad again, then we go backwards. And that means all the things that have been opened and going from purple to red have to close back up by that Friday. And then we have to spend 3 weeks in that level before we can move forward again. So hopefully we stay with good numbers and we just keep going. But if we do get 2 weeks in a row that are bad, then we have to go backwards. But if we have a week of bad and a week of good, then we start over again on our 2 strikes kind of setup. So it's a little confusing, but right now things are in an okay place. But as Rachel said, we still dance on that edge. So it's up to all of us to social distance, wear the mask, do all those things, and keep moving forward. Halloween will be one of our big challenges this coming weekend. So we're trying to work with everybody to be super safe, try and avoid the gatherings, all that kind of stuff, and really kind of use your head so we can keep everybody open and moving forward. Otherwise, that's it. Anything from me. If anybody has any questions, more than glad to help out and help you any way I can. Thanks.
Thank you, Lee, for explaining the moving backward moment. Can you also similarly talk about the moving forward? What would that require?
So moving forward, we have to drop, our big one is the cases per 100,000 people. And we need to get to 3.9 or lower 2 weeks in a row to move forward. Just so everyone's reference, our raw number last week was 7.5 and our adjusted number through the testing was 5.1. So that's basically like a case a day we need to get rid of to get us to be able to move forward kind of thing. So it takes we're actually closer to going backwards than we are to going forwards right now. But if we keep up the good work and keep moving forward, because we have dropped, at times we've been pretty close. Back on 9/22, we're actually at 3.5 in our adjusted number. So if we could have kept that up 2 weeks in a row, we could have moved forward. So we've been within the moderate range before, but we haven't been able to do it 2 weeks in a row. And things have kind of trended the wrong direction recently. Does that answer the question, Bettina?
Absolutely. And thank you for being so detailed, because I know people have been asking me about, okay, are we closer to opening? Are we closer to going back? And it's confusing.
Yeah, and feel free to email me, aljohnson@slocity.org, or call me on my cell phone, 805-710-1824, if you have questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Lee. Appreciate it. All right, up next, we have Courtney Kino from Cal Poly. How are you, Courtney?
I'm good. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Good morning, everybody. I hope you had wonderful non-gathering weekends. Cal Poly is starting our 7th week of classes today, and that means there are 19 school days left until students transition to all virtual classes and head home for the Thanksgiving holiday, with strong encouragement not to return until the start of winter quarter, which is January 4th. As of Friday, we had a total of 227 positive COVID-19 cases at Cal Poly since early July. Those, as a reminder, are cases that test on campus, so separate from the testing that's happening at county or private sites. We have 16 students that are currently in isolation on campus, and 16 in quarantine, and 103 in quarantine in place. As Lee was mentioned, we are laser focused on Halloween right now, where we've created and are promoting some virtual options and making sure that students are reminded how serious we are about consequences of violations of the public health order, definitely including gatherings and parties. We are communicating directly with all of Greek life and clubs, groups, and then the general population through social media, through a number of different email campaigns. And we are even working to incentivize students to stay in. So we've been talking about giving out tickets or prizes for those that participate in the virtual events. And then in terms of the weekend specifically, we have Cal Poly police officers that are going to join SLO PD officers in patrols and enforcement for that evening. In terms of communication, we're also really gearing up for travel around Thanksgiving. So messaging to students that the best way to keep their families safe when they return is to isolate for 14 days before they do any traveling. And then, of course, before they come back to the community in January, residence halls, as a reminder, close down on November 21st. As I've mentioned in the past, we have an enormous testing effort going on. We've committed to test all on-campus residential students and students taking classes or coming onto campus for any reason 5 times throughout the quarter. They're doing their daily screening checks and there's all kinds of measures in place to ensure they stay safe and don't come onto campus if there's any risk. And we are now also offering that testing to faculty and staff. I participated last week. I will post the Cal Poly's coronavirus webpage in the chat, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Courtney. I have a couple of questions about the testing. So as Lee was talking about, we're really staying where we are in the tier we're in because we have such testing. What will the university be doing in the time between when the campus shuts down and when it restarts in January? Will this testing still be in place, or will that affect our numbers?
Yes, that's a great question. We submitted our plans to County Public Health last week. And so they have not been approved yet unless that happened this morning. Because our campus population is going to be so low, and because we're encouraging all students to go home, it's going to drop. We are not going to do as much testing. We won't even have as many students to test. So our hours and testing at Campus Health and Wellbeing is going to drop November 20th or 21st. And then, so it will be significantly less. And we know that is been a huge part of where SLO County's been able to stay in the red. And so, or maybe not a huge part, but it's definitely been a part of it. And so we're really aware of that. However, we can't maintain the current testing because we just won't have the students, staff, and faculty on campus to test.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It's tough any way you look at it, right? Because on one hand, that would be a devastating time to go back into the purple. On the other, I mean, is there any way you could do more testing on campus to the students who are remaining in the community but don't live on campus? Or is that?
We will allow testing for asymptomatic and symptomatic students, but it's not going to be required in the same way that it is now when they are coming onto campus. They will have no reason to come onto campus after November 21st for the most part. And so, yes, we are still offering it, but it's going to be at a much more limited capacity.
Okay. So for those students who are choosing to stay here, they would be tested at the Vets Hall or other testing facilities not on campus. They
can actually still test on campus. We will still have that through, I think, December 20th, where they still have that ability. If they want to sign up to get tested on campus, they can. Again, all of these plans are in public health's hands to approve, so they're not solidified yet. But that is what we're planning. And then in that short window from December 20th to January 4th, I believe, that would be the window where they would have to test at the county, but otherwise they can still test on campus.
Okay, thank you. I know I'm asking a lot of hard questions, and I'm going to ask one more.
It's good.
For your Monday morning. What kinds of contingency plans is the administration making about if things continue to get worse on the national front and in the state, about maybe not bringing people back in January? Is that being discussed at all?
Yeah, I think everything's an option. I don't know exactly what or if the trigger points are. I think Dr. Aiden Nazmi, he's our epidemiologist on campus and has been advising us on all of this, as well as Dr. Penny Borenstein at the county. We're working really closely with them on the right plans. And from what I understand from Dr. Nazmi, it's not like if we hit 200 positive cases, that is the trigger point for closing down. It's more, I mean, I don't know how many of you have been watching what's happening at UCSB and in Isla Vista. They had an outbreak, which kept the county from going into the orange tier. They were unable to control that outbreak. It was at 5 sorority and fraternity houses, and they're very much in it right now. And so it would have to be something where we determined through our experts who are tracking these things that we don't have control, or there's some sort of mechanism. But then also when you're looking at the whole county, if it was determined to be unsafe for students to return or unsafe for them to be in the community for any reason, then that would be the trigger to not return. But at this point, we're planning to have the same level of in-person classes, so in that 12-13% range for our winter and spring quarters, unless something dramatically changes.
Great, thank you. And I really appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you every week. I think it's really helpful just to keep the conversation going, especially because our students and our the faculty and staff from Cal Poly are such a big part of our downtown. So thank you for your candid sharing with us, and I encourage everybody to go to that dashboard. There's good information that's posted there every day. So thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have Jim D'Antona from the SLO Chamber. How are you today, Jim?
Doing great, Bettina. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Processing through it.
as everyone. So just a quick, I want to follow up on and just let you know kind of we have a group called we call it C4, the Coalition of Central Coast Chambers, which is essentially all the SLO County chambers and the North Santa Barbara County chambers together. And I'm trying to get everybody together and potentially do a video to talk about what Lee just talked about. KSBY and some of the others have put out a lot of information like, oh, we could move up to these tiers. I think actually, as Lee said, we need to be much clearer that we are closer to going backwards than we are forward. And that we need to make people, I think some of those reports do us a disservice because people think, oh, things are going well. And the thing we don't want for our businesses is to slide backwards where we would have to potentially move things out of rest. It's good to hear that they've changed, at least for the salons and spas and stuff. But, if restaurants had to move back outside and it's cold or whatever, that's a problem. And so we're trying to put together some videos to make sure people stay vigilant. We know, I feel it, everybody feels it, right? That that the COVID pandemic weariness is set in heavily, and everybody would really not like to deal with it. But I think we need to be clear that people need to keep getting their tests, even if they're like, whatever, I'll get it if I need it. Those tests help us stay there. And also the separation and keeping our community healthy is key to keeping our economy going. So after that, moving on to the next topic, I think is for us is right now we have opened our committees, councils at the chamber, not the council committees, the chamber council and committees for applications. And we're taking, obviously those are the folks, if you're a member of the chamber, we want to make sure folks are out there. If you want to reach out to new folks and make sure they get involved, if you know great folks who should be on our committees helping us set policies for the new year, it's obviously a crazy new time. And so there's lots of interesting things we have to deal with. So those committee applications are open if you're already serving, and just make sure you get your application in so that we can consider that by November 6th. We also know that there's a million things going on right now, so we assume a lot of people will apply on November 6th. But we're looking forward to getting all those so that we can set our committee bodies for 2021. Additionally, we're in the middle of our relocation and referral guide. As I keep talking to real estate professionals who say lots and lots of people are coming to the Central Coast, this is a great way to get yourself noticed, whether it's whether it's from looking for hiring, whether it's sales on homes, real estate, all of those things. This is where we put this out. We will certainly have it in digital distribution, expanded digital distribution with a really nice setup this time. And again, additional in-person kind of that you can hand out for people you may be hiring or people that may be coming to the area on what's here. So we also want to make sure you knew about that. And if there's interest in being included in that, certainly let us know. You can see in the link in the chat there. And then just finally, I would not the workforce development, I didn't have a piece on this, but we are 8 days away from the election. Certainly the folks who are here on this phone call know the incredible work the city has done with Open SLO, the parklets, all of these things that have gone on. Measure G is on the ballot, making sure folks, if you're supportive of it, that you are sharing that out with the people. We know there's going to be a big turnout, and supporting Measure G, I think, will be a key piece in helping us continue the community we have and moving it forward. So more than happy to talk to any groups if people have concerns about what's going on. I've been spending a lot of time talking to organizations. If you know someone, or if there's something you want to share, you can go to our slomeasureg.com website. All the data's there. And I appreciate giving us the time to talk today. Thanks, Bettina.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I enjoyed seeing on Good Morning SLO the Yes on G Zoom background. I almost expected you to have one today, but that is very important. And as a reminder to everybody, our board of directors did vote to endorse Measure G. We also see the value of a sales tax that is commensurate with the other cities in the county, and visitors pay sales tax. We rely on visitors, and sales tax is necessary to move us forward into recovery. So please vote yes on G. And I also want to give a shout out to the chamber committees. I serve on the membership committee, and it's such a great group of people. You do a wonderful job with your committees, and I encourage people to sign up for that. I know there's a lot going on, as Jim said, but it is a great way to participate. So
thanks, Bettina.
Thanks very much. And up next, we have a guest from the Workforce Development Board to tell us about a really exciting opportunity. Diana, thanks for being with us today.
Good morning. Yes, my name is Diana Marin, and I'm the Business Services and Rapid Response Coordinator for the Workforce Development Board here in San Luis Obispo County. And I'm really excited to be here this morning to share a little bit about what we have going on at the Workforce Development Board. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background for those of you who may not know very much about us. The Workforce Development Board is a demand-driven organization appointed by the County Board of Supervisors. And we're tasked with implementing the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We do this by leveraging community resources and attempting to be a catalyst for workforce development here in San Luis Obispo County. Our vision is to meet the needs of both the job seekers and the employers here in the county by bridging gaps between the two. We also provide oversight over the local America's Job Center here in San Luis Obispo. And so what we have going on currently is we've allocated some funds to release what we're calling the COVID-19 Small Business Grant. And this grant is aimed at assisting small businesses in San Luis Obispo County with 25 or less employees. It is supposed to be used to prevent any potential layoffs or facility closures as a result of COVID-19. And so it will actually come as a reimbursement. So the goal is that a business lets us know how many or how much funds they need in order to prevent somebody from being laid off, and then the grant is then dispersed. The application and guidelines are available on our website, and that's kind of what I wanted to share with you this morning.
Great. I'm so happy you're here and that we made this connection. Since we've been having these calls, the question of trying to recruit and retain staff has come up again and again in a lot of our small businesses. In addition to the grant resources that you describe, are there any talent pools that we could draw from, or especially as the holiday season comes up and people are trying to find extra staffing? Are there any resources from your program?
Yeah, so the board itself doesn't work directly with job seekers, but like I said, we do provide oversight for the America's Job Center, and they do. They typically, what the America's Job Center is, it's a location that's open free of charge to anyone in the public wishing to look for work, to attend workshops, to learn how to write a resume, or network with others that are also job seeking. They provide, for some folks who are eligible, they provide one-on-one career counseling. And so there's a vast array of services that are delivered free of charge, again, at the America's Job Center. I'm going to be honest, when the shelter-in-place order was put in, was in place here in SLO County, the America's Job Center had to close. And since then, they had been offering services virtually. So they haven't not been available. They just haven't been available as much as you'd like, especially during a time when a lot of people are job seeking. So I think, to answer your question, they would be a good resource. I just know, have being part of the organization that provides oversight, that the walk-in, population, as we would call it, has not been there because they just very recently opened, and it's by appointment only.
Okay, makes sense. And back to the grant that you mentioned, what is the amount and what is the timeline for that?
Yeah, and so there is no official deadline. We have approximately $21,000 available. However, we're working on securing additional funds. So we don't want to put a deadline on it. We just want to exhaust all the funds. And so it's available to employers with 25 or less employees. There are two grant amounts. So if you have 1 to 10 employees, you're eligible for up to $1,500, an award of up to $1,500. And if you have up to 25 employees, then you would be eligible for up to $2,500.
Got it. Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us, Diana. We're happy to have you. And if you could drop the link to that application in our chat, we'll make sure that everybody gets a hold of it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So up next, I wanted to talk a little bit about a part of our economy that has been sadly a little bit overlooked, and that is the field of the performing arts. Some of you may have heard last week there were some news stories about a Central Coast coalition of arts leaders who have gotten together to do some advocacy work to make sure that their business operations are included in the state guidelines for reopening. Currently, there are no provisions in the guidelines for performing arts. Theaters, concert halls, even outdoor performances are not allowed. And as an organization, Downtown SLO, we rely on presenting arts as part of our business model as well. Concerts in the Plaza is obviously a huge part of our organization's placemaking activities, as well as operating entertainment at the farmers market. So we signed on to a letter that was distributed by about 30 different arts organizations, everything from kind of the traditional performing arts organizations, the symphony, festival mosaic, the ballet, the opera, to places like the Avila Beach Golf Resort that puts on concerts, and the Fremont Theater, because this is really an oversight that we see, and it's a huge part of our downtown. Some of the arrivalist data that we've seen on calls in recent weeks has shown that people are spending less time downtown when they come and visit. And I believe that that could be in direct relation to the fact that they are not coming downtown for plays and concerts and staying. And so we know that that is also a big part of drawing in visitors. Cultural tourism is critical to our economy. So I want to make you all aware of that. I know there are some other people who have been very active in that work. Steve Larian, I see you from Cal Poly Arts on the call. Thanks for joining us, as well as Leanne Standish, who's now with the Art Museum. So that is part of our economy. The arts are critical to our economy, and I encourage you to check out that letter and some of the press as it's become available. So now we're going to move into our weekly polls, and I am just having, I guess I haven't had enough coffee this morning because I'm having some challenges with my various screen sharing devices. So Rachel, if you would like to share the screen and show the poll results from the last couple of weeks, that would be helpful at this time. Thank you. And I'll also ask Rachel to start the poll so that you can all participate in this. And as usual, we first ask about your level of confidence. I'm eager to see if the surge nationwide is affecting your well-being. I am seeing that somewhat pessimistic or very pessimistic. We just don't have a lot of very pessimistic people. And I think the people who participate in these calls weekly are by nature people who are like to do things and get involved. So that is good to see. We're at about halfway mark for those of you who have taken the poll. So if you maybe have slipped away into another browser window, I know you're out there doing that. If you want to come back and participate in the poll, now would be the time. And your vote matters on this poll as it does in the election. So make sure to return your mail-in ballot in addition to filling out the poll. And I think we're going to close this one now. It looks like people are maybe not feeling as good as they were last week. So that's too bad. I think somewhat pessimistic that might be a trend that we should watch. So I hope that you're taking care of yourself and that you're drinking enough water and going for walks and connecting with your family in safe ways and being around your friends. So let's go into our next question. And this is, what is the biggest challenge facing your business today? So just today, October 26th, this Monday, what are you most concerned about? Maybe some of you have had outbreaks in your businesses. I know that sometimes businesses have been closed due to an outbreak. Are people concerned about not having the safety of their employees as the fatigue goes down? Or are we most concerned about the things that we absolutely cannot control, like consumer confidence? And I listen to the show Marketplace from American Public Media. That's my sort of nightly routine while I make dinner. And there's a really great thing that Kai Risdall, the host, says. He just says that, you can't predict what a consumer will do when there is a virus. The virus controls the economy. It's not the other way around. So we'll go ahead and close this poll now. And it looks like, as usual, uncertain consumer confidence is the #1 winner. So not sure what to say to you all about that, other than we are planning to do some really exciting and COVID-safe activations over the holiday season to try to bring people downtown to feel safe so that they can consume responsibly and support local business. And I know with our partners at the city, at the chamber, at Cal Poly, at the Workforce Development Center, at the SBDC, we're all committed to making sure that we can survive and come back from this moment. So with that, we'd be happy to take any questions that you might have at this time. Looks like we've got some good participation today. Thank you to the 28 of you who showed up this morning. We appreciate you coming week after week, whether you show up on Zoom or you're watching live on Facebook, or if you're watching this later in the day because you were busy opening up your shop or your restaurant or your salon. Or your attorney's office or wherever you may be. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Remember to get your raffle ticket to the Friends of Downtown SLO Love Your Downtown raffle. And we will see you here next week. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Remember to turn in those ballots. Be well, wash your hands, and we'll see you next Monday.